Bioactive enclosures are becoming super popular in the pet hobby. Today's list, I wanted to talk about 5 amazing reptiles for bioactive enclosures. Your boy Smith, this is All Things Living. Let's go! Coming in at number 5, we have garter snakes. They're pretty small colubrids. They only get to about 2.5 to 3 feet long, not too big, very easy to manage. These animals are very common out here in North America. They're everywhere. I think they're very common also in Canada and in Mexico. The behaviors of the animals are a little bit different up north though. As you come down further south, their habits start to change a little bit, but it's the same animal. You can get these garter snakes in many different colors. They come in blues, I think greens. I'm looking for red-sided garters. They have just red garters, brown, golds. There's all types of colors when it comes to these animals. And these animals are perfect for bioactive enclosures. They're not gonna use too much height, but you give them a nice like 6-8 foot long enclosure, maybe 3-4 foot tall. Go crazy, throw some plants in there, give them a water feature. These animals are usually found near water. They're gonna love it. They'll be super easy on your plants. Them only being, like I said, 2.5 to 3 foot long. They're not gonna get too big, not heavy bodied at all. They'll be very easy on the plants inside the enclosure. And if given a water feature also, these animals are they're gonna use it. Like in the wild, they love being in and around water. A lot of the prey that they eat, it's like small like frogs and small lizards, little fish, things like that. They spend a lot of time in the water, so they're gonna use a water feature if given. I think it would be a beautiful idea just to watch them live naturally with like water and fish. I think that'd be really cool. Garter snakes are super good for bioactive enclosures. Really good just beginner snakes all together. They're not very bitey. They do like the musk.
That's weird.
But other than that, like handling a garter snake is not hard at all. It's actually quite fun. And the variation you can get from these animals is absolutely amazing. You could actually co-have these animals too. Don't just take my word for it. Go do some research. But you can co-have these animals too. Not only just with garter snakes, but with other. Go do your research. But this is an awesome, amazing animal for bioactive enclosures. Even just for beginners or adept or expert level keepers. This is an amazing animal. Garter snakes are bred readily in captivity, so finding a garter snake should not be hard at all. They're not expensive, very easy to find, very good for bioactive enclosures, good for beginners. I think overall this is a very good animal to have just in general. All right, now coming in at number 4, we got Chinese water dragons. Now Chinese water dragons aren't really for everybody. They're not a hard reptile to keep. They just get 3.5 feet big, and some people can't see themselves handling a lizard that big, but this is a beginner species and they are perfect for bioactive enclosures. I remember going into pet shops when I was younger, and I personally would always see these big bioactive enclosures with a bunch of Chinese water dragons in them. Happy to see you just running from side to side, just having the most fun. These animals are perfect for bioactive enclosures. They do get a little bit bigger though, so you're gonna need to use bigger bodied plants, a little heavier plants, things that could take a little bit of a beating, but they're not gonna be doing any like digging or burrowing or anything like that. They're not gonna be pulling up your plants out the ground like some of the monitors will. So for anything that's like planted in the ground, it'll be perfect, but you know, they like to spend a little time on the low hanging branches and in the water. So in that regard, you need something that's gonna be able to support their weight and that'll take a little bit of a beating, but they're not gonna destroy your enclosure. They're perfect for bioactive enclosures. They're very, very curious in nature. They're very easy to handle. One of the easiest reptiles to handle. Very personable, not aggressive at all as far as like tail whipping and biting or hissing, any of that. They're just very, very docile creatures. And if you're building an enclosure for a Chinese water dragon, I would recommend bigger. The bigger, the better. At least 6 foot enclosure, at least 8 foot enclosure, especially if you're housing multiple. And this is not just for the animal, but for you too. Like there's so much space. We want to build beautiful bioactive terrariums, paludariums. In this case, we want to give them a nice water feature. We want everything to live cohesively together, to give it enough space to do so. Give them a nice long tank, nice tall tank, however you decide, because Chinese water dragons will use height, they will use length, they'll use it all. So whatever you give them is fine, but make sure to give them enough space. And with these animals also, we like to keep 3 sides of your enclosure blocked off so they can't see out of them, because they do the nose rubbing a lot, and it kind of messes with their faces, messes up their face and their jawline. So if you cover 3 sides of the enclosure, they don't do that nose rubbing thing so much. Me, personally, I like to use grow tents, because not only can I get the size that I need, 10 by 5 by 5 or whatever, not only can I get the size that I need, but all the edges are soft, and I can enclose them inside the enclosure, like inside. They don't have to see me at all if they don't want to. Give them 10 to 12, 15 days of just being comfortable before we start working with the animals. But the more space, the better. These animals are amazing. They will reward you just in their behavior alone. So giving them the enclosure that they deserve, I think is just, it's a no-brainer. Give them what they deserve. Give them the plants, give them the water feature. Let everything come together cohesively. This is a perfect animal for that. And you already know what the lifespan is like. It's like 6 to 8 years in the wild or something, but in captivity, when we get it right, it's 20 to 25 plus. We have a pretty good way of just multiplying the life expectancy. We do pretty good with these animals. So you get it right, you got it. You could expect to see your animal for a long time. And like I said, these animals are bred in captivity readily. Everybody has them. They're very cheap. I think this is a very good beginner, bigger species. Before you go getting into the big monitors and stuff like that, I think this would be a nice step up. They're not aggressive, they're very docile, they're easy to handle, easy to feed, easy to take care of. Perfect for bioactive enclosures. Hey, let's go. Coming in at number 3, this is a little bit of a reach for me, but I'm gonna put them on the list anyway. I'm talking newts and salamanders. I think newts and salamanders are perfect for bioactive paludariums. If you want an animal that's gonna be in the water most of the time, you can get yourself a newt, and there's many different types of newts, and they are so beautiful. I've been wanting to get into newts for so long, but I understand that you gotta keep the water temperature lower, and I live in Florida. I live out here in Florida. Keeping things cooler is a little bit of a problem. I think I might be able to do it now, but I didn't want to just be experiment with these animals. They are beautiful animals. You got the fire belly newts, the I think emperor newts. They're just so marbled newts, red newts. There's so many different types of newts. And then if you want something that's gonna be on land more, you could get a salamander. They have the tiger salamanders, spotted salad. There's so many. There's so many different types. And really, it just depends on what you want to do. What are you building? Do you want something that's gonna be interacting with the land area? Do you want something just to fill the water area and let the plants grow themselves? That's how I would do it. I would go some fire belly newts, give them a huge water feature, and just let the forest grow and do its own thing. I might even include a totally different animal to inhabit the forest area. Who knows? Just thinking. Newts and salamanders, I think, would be perfect for bioactive enclosures. They're very delicate in nature. They're not gonna be too hard on your plants. Very easy to feed and take care of. And we will be doing newts and salamanders over here at All Things Living. I just wanna wait a little bit until we are sure that we can do it properly. Coming in at number 2, we got red-eyed tree frog. They almost need no introduction. I remember being young and looking in the magazines or checking the Discovery Channel or National Geographic. You would always see these animals. And being young, I didn't really know too much about them. As I got older, I realized not only do we have direct access to these animals, but they're super easy to take care of and very rewarding. Very good for bioactive enclosures. They inhabit the areas above the ground. I think these animals would be perfect. Now, this is an animal for your really tall enclosure, because you got the red-eyed tree frog. These are true tree dwellers. These boys like to be up high and all the time. Like Wiz Khalifa, they ain't playing. Red-eyed tree frogs, I think if you give them a big enclosure, give them a tall enclosure. Give them a taller one, because they're gonna be up top. That's where they would. You might even be able to get away with having different animals that inhabit the ground level, because these animals, like I said, they're gonna primarily be in the trees and the tops of your enclosures. Give them a couple nice tall plants with big leaves, because they like to hang out on and under the leaves. Their call is amazing. Their coloration is amazing. Big deep red eyes, bright greens. They are beautiful animals. These are beautiful animals, right? perfect for bioactive enclosures. Now, when it comes to frogs' lifespan, it's a little bit different than reptiles. Amphibians are a little bit different than reptiles, but typically in captivity, if things are done correctly, they'll live about 7 to 8 years, closer to 10 years. I don't think we have any specimens, like I said, that are like 20, 25 years old like the reptiles. We get that almost every time down the line with the reptiles, but amphibians are a lot different. There are a lot of things that contribute to the overall length of their life or their lifespan. So, but when done right, you could expect to see your animal, like I said, in anywhere from about 5 to 8 years. That's a healthy lifespan for red-eyed tree frog in captivity. And as far as like size, like the red-eyed tree frog isn't very big. They're only about 3.5, 4 inches. Please, like, don't quote me on that, but I think they're only about 3 to 4 inches, and they don't get too much bigger than that. So give them a huge enclosure, and you can add quite a few and still give them the space that they need. I think that giving these animals a tall bioactive enclosure is actually the way to go. And me personally, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna have other frogs that inhabit the ground area. We might be talking about number 1. And coming in at number 1, we got dart frogs. I don't really even have to say anything else. Dart frogs are absolutely beautiful. What color do you want? Huh? What color do you want? So I want you to sit there and come up with 2 colors off the top of your head and put them together. I bet you there's a dart frog combination for that color. I can guarantee it. These animals come in such high variety. The colors are insane. These animals are absolutely beautiful. Not getting any bigger than just a couple inches, an inch and a half, 2 inches long. They don't take up a lot of space, but they have huge personalities. Huge personalities. Animals are all over. They're very curious. Don't seem to be scared of humans. They'll come to the front of your enclosure and interact with you. You can tongue feed. These animals are amazing. Reds, blues, greens, yellows, orange, reds and greens, blues and reds. But what color do you want? Which one do you want, man? These animals are absolutely amazing. And like I said, with them being smaller frogs that inhabit the ground area, I thought, man, why not build a big tent and put some reed frogs or some tree frogs in there that'll inhabit the tree areas, and then some dart frogs that'll inhabit the ground area, and just have a whole frog tent. Why not? Give them a dope water feature, a nice pond for all of the frogs to go do their thing, nice plants, plant it from top to bottom. I think this sounds like a really good idea. Dart frogs are perfect for bioactive enclosures. They kind of go hand in hand with bioactive enclosures, but dart frogs are bioactive enclosures. They are the reason for bioactive enclosures. They go hand in hand with these enclosures. Why wouldn't this be number 1 on my list? I can't wait to get into dart frogs. I cannot wait. We have a couple enclosures already. We don't have any dart frogs yet. I think that'll be next year. But dart frogs, number 1 best animal for bioactive enclosures, if you ask me. And maybe it's not in the order from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5, or these may not even be the top 5. These could just be 5 good animals for bioactive enclosures. Now, I hope that today's list was able to help anybody out or give you a little idea of what to do or where to move with your projects. We got a lot of projects going on over here, so I know you guys got a lot of things going on, and I hope I could help. I appreciate you taking the time out today to be here with me. You could have been anywhere else on the planet, but you're here, and I really do appreciate that. It's your boy Smith. It's All Things Living. I'm out.